Our message today comes from Gospel according to Luke, chapter 14, 12 to 14. And he also said to them who invited him, when you give a dinner or a supper, do not ask your friends, your brothers, your relatives, nor rich neighbors, lest they also invite you back and you be repaid. But when you give a feast, invite the poor, the maid, the lame, and the blind. And you'll be blessed, because they cannot repay you. For you shall be repaid at the resurrection of the just. The word of God for people.
Thanks be to God.
Suppose there was a man who, as he sat in his leather recliner after a long day's work, wife and children are tucked into bed. And there he is doing his Bible reading, and he runs across this passage in Luke. And for some reason it just kind of kept him up. He couldn't go to sleep. Maybe it was because there was this lingering mysteriousness that seemed to surround him in such a way that he tried to brush it off and force himself to go to sleep. And after climbing the stairwell and crawling into bed, he stared at the ceiling, still unable to sleep. Thinking about all the dinner parties that he and his wife had had, thinking of all the people of the who's who that he had invited to his home, in such a way that it afforded him the luxuries of a very successful man and family. His children were well taken care of, beautiful two-story home, and paid-for cars outside. He thought of the private school tuition that he had been able to pay. Yet he just couldn't help but wonder as he was lying in his bed as to what life would look like if he'd actually taken God up on the blessings that are promised in this passage. So all of a sudden he says, okay, just so I can get to sleep, I'll take you up on it. And he was able to go to sleep. The next day he gets up and seems to have a whole pep in his step that was never there. He's now excited. He tells his wife what he's going to do, and she basically blows him off and goes and heads to the country club to play some tennis. And he then gets out invitations. He gets on his computer and writes, Jesus of Nazareth, request the honor of your presence at a very special dinner party. Vans will pick you up at the parking lot of Kelly's. Dinner will be served at 6:30. See you there. Then he's all excited because he's now trying to think of where will I find the people in this passage that Jesus is talking about. So he just walks around downtown and passes these invitations out. Various people, some on foot, some on bicycles, some not sure exactly even where they are. They gather together at night, all huddled by a fire lit in a barrel behind the fire station, of all places. And they're all asking one another, did you get that car? Who was that guy? Charlie, the blind guy, keeps saying, is this a new governmental program that we've been hearing about? And then Willie says, no, I'm not sure who's throwing this feed, but I want to go. Y'all gonna go? He says, sure, why not? So they all show up at Kelly's, and this man's yard man and the guy that usually washes his car drive up in the vans and pick up the people. It was the most interesting day for the drivers. They had never experienced anything of the like, and this was very out of character for what their normal day with their employer is. But they all get in the vans, and it's nice and toasty in there. It has heat. The little gloves that they've been wearing, their fingers are sticking through. Shivering, they huddle up, still wondering what the catch is. They arrive at the man's house, and the candles those little fake candles are flickering in the lanterns that are on the side of the beautiful big carved doorway. The gardener, he opens up the door into a beautiful marble foyer. And the guys keep, who is it? Where are we? I don't know. Just come on. Boy, this is really pretty. The man is there to greet them. He says, I know you're probably wondering what this is all about, but I'm just really glad you're here. Please come in. Have a seat. They walk in, and beautiful big paintings hung on the walls. They walk a little to the right and are led into a huge dining room, massive mahogany.